Alright, so I've been enjoying my time playing Age of Mythology, learning the game and winning occasionally. I've gathered some things that I found out in my time that has progressed me much faster, and I really wish that I knew them before jumping into the game and having to learn it the hard way. And that's what I'll share with you today. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Age of Mythology Retold content.
I'm in danger!
In any good RTS, you gotta learn how to use those hotkeys, whether they are for pressing the right button at the right time or moving your units out of the way to dodge appropriately. You got a hotkey. One thing that I wish I knew about Age of Mythology before I started, and I learned faster, was the importance of using the hotkeys properly. See, most matches, I've just been able to use the top left buttons for like a town center and maybe some unit production buildings. Not much else, really. And I think that was one of my slowest learning points, is to utilize that key setup properly and faster so that I could quickly summon more units, so that I could move my units around. That was one thing that I really need to practice on, is actually hotkeying some of my units. I play mostly Greek right now, so maybe having all of my heroes being under one key and being able to move them up and out of the way, or target a big mythological unit to bring down. There's so many different ways that you could use that, and I feel like that was one thing that I really wish I learned a lot faster, was the proper use of that. Now, actually, I tell you what really would help out here, and I may have to go and dig it out, is an MMO mouse. The MMO mouses have, 10 to 15 different buttons on the side of the mouse itself, and they all correspond with being able to be hotkeyed. So if I use that more properly, I probably could use all of those different available buttons to hotkey and jump around a lot faster. That's just me thinking outside the box. But 100% definitely using the hotkeys a lot better and more frequently. I mean, of course, it is learning all the other hotkeys, like how to build a house very quickly, or how to attack move, or things that will come with time. But I really needed to have a better focus with the hotkey buttons up at the top left. The next thing that I really wish I learned sooner for Age of Mythology is minimizing downtime. Now, I've been playing primarily player versus player, but even if you play against the bot, there is usually always something for you to be doing, whether that is queuing up units, whether that is researching something, that is moving your villagers over to a new gold mine. There's so many different things that you should be doing at any given time that I actually found myself actually falling so much further behind when I'm just like, you know what? I already have, one gold mine and all my people are going at it. That's all I need right now. And I can't think like that, really. Minimizing the downtime is especially me trying to find a way to exponentially grow my economy, grow my military, everything else that goes into this game. And I found myself just coasting when I felt like I was in a good spot. Okay, well, food off, 200 meat off of being able to upgrade the town center from classic to heroic. Okay, I'll just wait until they're done. And it's like no, you gotta keep working. You gotta keep moving things around. And that's something that has been a bit of a learning curve for me, is especially not being comfortable. And each one of my matches, I found that even if I fall behind, even if I'm, not as, we'll say, proper as far as resource generation as the other player, even if I'm still maxing out my resources and making sure that I'm building up units and I'm still researching and I'm moving things around, like there's always something to do, avoiding as much downtime as possible. That has been my biggest learning curve at first. So one of the other bigger things that kind of goes along with minimizing downtime is the focus on production and villagers. I tend to get to a point, and it's something that I'm trying to correct. I tend to get to a point where I'm just saying, you know what? Like, I have 10 villagers on gold, I have, 13 on wood, I have 8 on meat. I'm good. I don't have to do anything. I have 1 or 2 on favor. And it's like, I'm good. Okay, everything's fine. And that complacency is where I end up getting hurt. Is because, yeah, it might be generating a good amount of stuff, but it's not going to be sustainable down the line. And that's something that I've had to pick up very quickly. It was having this focus of production and villagers, just even well into heroic age. I'm still queuing up villagers and building town centers and and just really emphasizing that economy, because having that economy is how you can, there's some players who build like 6 or 7 different fortresses all right in front of me and like they walk their way down to almost smother me. So I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what, I really gotta focus on producing the resources, generating the resources, having a good amount of villagers. I think in most matches I would end up having like 20 or 30, and it's like I could boost that up to like 40 or something to really hammer out this economy. It'll allow me to capture more settlements because yeah, I can generate the resources needed, but then also I can jump around and gather up all the different gold mines a lot faster, which gold becomes so precious so quickly in this game. And honestly, I really need to focus on that a lot more. Focus on building that economy, building that production, and even still queuing villagers well into the game. Just because you get to a point where you're generating good materials doesn't mean that that is the place to stop. One thing I realized, and it kind of echoes the production and the downtime idea, is that macro will always beat micro, meaning the side with more units will almost always beat the side with less units. Now, there's a couple of times where I'm playing a little bit more defensive because I focused on upgrades, I focused on, you know, promoting my units and making them bigger and stronger and all that. But in that cost, it would have been 5 or 6 new soldiers that I could have had at that time. And having that amount of units, having that many soldiers is usually not the best. Only having a minimal amount and then just highly upgraded. It seems, especially early on, is that the larger groups of units, the larger group of units that ends up in a fight almost always wins. Even if you have high upgraded units, if there's, you know, 25, we'll say, soldiers, hoplites, and they're fighting 6 or 7 highly advanced, you know, cavalry. Yeah, they counter them, but those upgrades really aren't going to matter because the hoplites are still probably going to be able to take them down. And that's something that I've really had to change my focus on, is because I would sit there and I would try to micro the units. I would try to move them in and out so that they could better do their job. Like, I would take my heroes and I would try to hunt down the mythological units that are in there fighting, just to really emphasize the taking down of the key units. And while that does work, eventually I would end up losing the fight because they could just micro their mythological units away. Their human units can surround me, kill me. I mean, there's so many little things that I found in this game, in that it almost always pays off to have a larger unit force, a larger group force, versus a highly upgraded small group of units. Macro always beats micro, almost, at least every experience that I've had, it almost always beats it. And this last one is kind of intuitive, but I do have to bring it up, and that is to have a damn plan. I am notorious for just getting in there, getting my hands dirty, and then figuring it out as I go, and playing more reactive than I would if I am playing more with a operation plan, something that I'm thinking that I'm going to end up doing that's going to benefit me down the long run. Now, one of the things that I, especially in my early games, my early matches that I've had since playing this game, was I just go in there and I'll just try to build one, unit production and I'll be good to go. Where in truth, I should have been, researching a plan, researching a build order, finding out what units are very effective, what units really are not. How can I progress my settlement? Really focusing on, okay, my enemy unit's probably going to play more defensive, so let's go ahead and see, if that's the case, then maybe we will try to match him economically speaking and grow like that, just to overwhelming odds. Or perhaps we'll get in there early with some early cavalry attacks or something. Having a plan and being able to execute that plan, I think, has been my biggest crutch thus far. It's like thus far it's just been I'm reacting. I'm not necessarily trying to defeat anything or win any fight. It's just I'm going along for the ride, and not having a plan has definitely hurt me, and that's something that I really needed to know earlier. Now when I get into my matches, I do have a plan. I'll change some of my gods around to have a better focus. So I just went up against this Hades and I changed it around to be focused on Poseidon because Poseidon has better cavalry. Cavalry typically does better against archer units, which kind of removes Hades' more strong units. And it's stuff like that. Like, I have a plan. and that's something that has been difficult for me to learn. Regardless, the more I play, the better I get at Age of Mythology, and I'm excited to keep trying and getting further and further into this game. I am having a wonderful time, if you were curious. If you missed my first experience into Age of Mythology, you can click this video here to see why the new player experience is brutal. As always, stay caffeinated, folks.